Welcome to Flash Tutorial, Halloween Scene Part 9. It's a follow-up to Part 8, which I have opened on my stage now. Make sure all the layers are locked. Select this tree end layer and insert a new layer. On frame 15, insert a blank keyframe and call this layer Bat Spa, as in Bat Sparkle. Actually, that should line up with frame 14. Open up your library panel. Make a new symbol. Make it a movie clip and call it Bat Guide, B-A-T, capital B, capital G-U-I-D _MC. And when you do, you're going to be inside that movie clip. And again, you only have the one frame yet. On frame 13, I'm going to put a keyframe, and that's when I'm going to drag in that sparkle movie clip. Same as we did before, just drag it anywhere on the stage for now. Remember, you have nothing here. Then go back to scene 1. Find that movie clip we just made, that Bat Guide movie clip, and drag it onto the stage and drag it right here in the middle of that crypt. Then double click on it and you'll be inside that movie clip. There you are. And then you can build your guide to have it go up and around and into the windows of the house. You know how to do that by now. And on this actions layer, you have a stop, and you have this code that sends me back to a frame called Bat Animation. So copy that after you've typed it in. Copy that. Go back to scene 1, and I think that's it right there. Frame. Select frame 15. Insert a blank keyframe, and in here paste in that Bat Animation. While we're at it, on the actions layer, insert a blank keyframe and put a stop in here. I'm back on scene 1. I'm selecting this Bat Spark layer, and I'm going to insert 2 layers. So insert 2 layers. Call the first one Bat Animation. A-N-M is good enough as an animation. And this one here, call it Time AS. And I put it in capitals because it's just a short movie clip to give us a certain amount of time and then allow us to jump to the next frame. So we got two to deal with here. So let's deal with this Bat Animation. Lock all the layers, unlock that Bat Animation layer, select frame 15, insert a keyframe, and while you're at it, up here, insert a keyframe on this line. Okay, let's go back to this Bat Animation, and eventually we're going to put a movie clip in here. So I want you to open the library panel, make a new symbol, just like you did before, and call it Bat, B-A-T-A-N-M, as in animation _MC. And once you've done that, you're going to be just same as we've done before. You're going to be inside this movie clip, and again, you only have one blank frame. Well, let's build the layers first. I got a bat layer, a guide layer, a bat layer, a guide layer, and let's just see how many we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 layers, and in each case on this frame called bats, okay, that's where we're dragging in that movie clip, a movie clip that we'll make in a few minutes. And on this frame here, we're dragging another bat in, dragging another bat in, and so on. And at the same time, we're making a guided layer for those. And let's look at this, locking them all here. I think you're following me. And on this layer, we would have dragged in a movie clip called bats, which we haven't made yet. So go to your library panel, make up a new symbol, call it bats, BATS _ MC, and here it is. You can't see it because the bats are black, so I'm going to open my properties panel and make my background a light color for a few minutes. And it's just a series of keyframes in which I took this image of a bat that I made, could be the one used from the puzzle, and I shrunk it to, or whatever I need to do, to around 83 wide and 60 high. And in each keyframe I just did a little modification. Okay, see what I did? I made it a little smaller. I bent the wings and made it stubbier, made it a little less stubby, more stubby, whatever, so that I have this thing look like a bat flapping its wings, and it's called bats _ MC. I'm back on my bats animation layer, and as I said, I drew one of them in for each of these bats that I have, so I'm having all these bats. I'm saying I'm drawing them in, but I mean I'm clicking and dragging them in. And once you do the first bat, click it and drag it into that first keyframe you made. Go back to scene 1 and then click and drag that movie clip in and put that movie clip right on the house, just as we did before. Then go back to this bat animation movie clip and finish it off. And because we drew that in on the scene 1, we can see where we can put our paths. They all start at the house and basically go off to the stage. See them? All right, I think you know how to do that by now. And the top layer is ActionScript with a blank keyframe here, and in here there's no code. I had code in here, but I took it out, and the reason I took it out is I want this, once it calls up this frame on scene 1, I want this to happen over and over and over and over and over again. And if I put a stop up in here, then it would only happen once. And normally in here we were putting that code that would get us back to the next frame on scene 1. If I did that, every time the bats went through, it would jump back to that frame, jump back to that frame. So go to scene 1. That's the function of this layer. Right now you can see these are where I have these up to here. You can move these up to these with keyframes if you want, but eventually we're going to be, I think, changing them anyway. So now let's get into this time as frame. It's on frame 15, and if I look at that, unlock that layer, make sure that's the only layer I'm unlocking, you have a keyframe in here now, and all that's on that is a keyframe on frame 45, and this is enough time for me to run through and allow my bats to go through and allow that frame to go through, and this is what's going to direct me to the next to the next frame. So that's that movie clip root, go to and stop. So we may as well copy this, which animation. And by now you know where this is going. Back on scene 1. In this frame right here, insert a blank keyframe, open your properties panel, and paste that in. So that frame is called which animation. And while we're at it, insert a blank keyframe, and you know what goes up in here, another stop. And again, I'm putting all these stops because I was going to put some code in here, and eventually I might. Let's lock all the layers, unlock the labels layer, select this frame that we just called which animation, and pick up your text tool, and let's put a number in here. We're on frame 16 for testing purposes. And let's go back to my selection tool, select the stage, and let's go back to the black stage, and let's test this out, and we should be able to see the bats continue to come out of here if we have everything right. Now I'm going to cut this really short this time. Here's where the sparkles start, then the fence, 3 trees, and now the bats. And if we're right, here they come. We should jump to frame 16, and they should keep coming. Yes, very good. Lock all the layers, select this time as layer, and insert a new layer, call it which sparkle, WITSPA, and put a keyframe on frame 16. 16 is where we already have that number 16, and on that frame we're going to do something similar. Open your library panel, make a new symbol, make that symbol a movie clip, and call it which guided underscore MC, WITCHGUIDED underscore MC. And once you do that, you're going to be inside of that new movie clip. You only have this one layer, call it sparkle, and you're going to drag that sparkle movie clip and put it anywhere on your stage, because right now you don't have this background that I have. And you're going to go back to scene 1. You're going to open the library panel, drag that which guided movie clip in, which will just be that sparkle, and put it right there. Double click on it, and now you're inside. You see all the things, and you can build that tween, that guided tween that allows the sparkle to do a little wiggle and go off stage. You can barely see it right there. That it's called the guided which movie clip, but it's actually just guiding the sparkle off the stage. And the last frame here, 49, is an actions layer, and in it put this code to stop and allow us to go to the next frame, which is called which fly. So once you type this out, copy this, go back to scene 1, select this next frame, which is frame 17, insert a blank keyframe, open the properties panel, paste that which fly in. Again, while we're at it here, insert a blank keyframe on your actions panel, put in a stop, make sure all the layers are locked, select that which spa layer, insert another layer, call it which animation, select frame 17, insert a blank keyframe, and Go to your library panel, make a new symbol, and call that movie clip which animation, ANM_MC. And again, repeating it now, except this one's slightly different. On this lower frame, we're going to make a moon. There it is. They can't see it because the opacity is, the alpha is 0. And if I were to click on it, you can see it's a movie clip called moon_MC. There's nothing there, just the moon. And you could have made it a graphic, but I'll deal with the movie clips. And that's so we can make it here and turn the alpha down to 0, and way at the end here around frame 58, make it the full alpha 100%, and leave the moon full alpha right to the end. And you only need one keyframe here, which is frame 120. And then tween that moon up to here. Then the next layer is the witch layer. That's the witch. If I zoom closer, you can see her. There she is, the witch. And all we did was drew a path for the witch to travel on. That would take her past the house, and you can see her going, and the moon gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And she does this little stop and take. There she stops, slows down a little bit for that little bit there. And here she sits for a couple of seconds, and then she does this back up thing because she's going to take off and jet propel, and off she goes off the stage. Now you could just leave her here. That's up to you, and have her doing this over and over and over and over if you want. But if you do, then you got to find some means of getting around her leaving and going to the next frame. You need another one of those time as things. Anyway, there she goes off the frame, off the stage. And this last layer is the action script layer. And this last keyframe has the action code. It's the stop, and this will direct us to the next frame called moon. So just copy that. Go back to scene 1. And this is this one here, frame 18. Insert a blank keyframe. Paste in the name moon. And this one here, blank keyframe. And action script stop. Go back to scene 1. Select the witch animation layer. Frame 17. Make it a keyframe if it isn't. And drag that witch animation movie clip onto the stage. Place it just above the house. Now, make sure all the layers are locked. Select this witch animation layer. Insert another layer. Call it moon. And on that is this movie clip moon. You can see it gets brighter, then it gets dimmer. I ended up calling this movie clip moon A_MC. Back on scene 1. And I put a keyframe in frame 19. Let's test this out. And I'm going to cut this really short again. Here comes the first set of bats to take us to frame 16. There goes the star for the witch. The witch is coming and the moon is getting bright. That's on that witch animation 1. The witch leaves, we go into the next frame, and there's the other moon. That's the moon layer. And the bats keep coming. That's enough for this tutorial. Save the SFLA if you plan on doing part 10. In part 10, which is the final part, we'll be adding some audio. So wherever you're storing these FLAs you're making, I suggest you create somehow 2 audio files, make them MP3s, and make one of the sound of a door opening, and make the other one the sound of the swish of air, and I'm calling it swish and door opening, and put them in that folder with the rest of the FLAs you're creating. This is what they sound like. Hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.